Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. So, in today's video, we will be learning how to make this beautiful bridal beading. But before we get into it, I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank you all my subscribers and viewers for making sure I reach this 2.5k. It is a milestone for this channel and I really appreciate it. So, stay tuned. The materials you'll be needing. You would need your crystals. It can be in any other sizes that you want. Okay, so these are the crystals that I used, and then this is the other beads I used, the club back crystals. This is what actually I use. I will be leaving all the materials in the description, not forgetting my needle. But hey, this isn't a fixed needle. You can use any other needle you want. And yes, this is my thread. Okay, so with a start, I make sure that I pass the thread through it. But with this one, I actually cut it off. I make sure I cut it off because these threads are not as strong as a fishing wire. So I really secured it. And then I was going to work on nude net. And I wanted to make sure that nude net itself is very feasible. So you just have to try your best to make sure that you just don't mess anything up. Okay, so that was basically why I used this thread. I used a normal thread and then actually used the shade of the nude net of the net, which is very important. So I pass it through it. Okay, so nude nets are very smaller. So you try to make sure that you pass through at least enough net so that it wouldn't just get messed up. Okay, so you make sure you pass through enough net and you make sure you deal with it gently because you don't want it to be getting torn in the middle of the work, which will completely mess up the whole work. You just don't want that. So as you can see me doing, I was just moving upwards with it with the beading, as you can see here. Yep. So you make sure that you actually get to that section. Okay, you pass it through it and then you move forward along the line. And here with this section, I actually wanted to make sure it was filled enough because that was I don't know, like under back section. Yes, that was under back section. So I just didn't want the person to be exposing that much. Okay, so I wanted to make sure that I was sealing it as closely, I was beading as closely as I could. So that was what you can see here. So with this, that is what I can actually say is that you can use your normal thread to actually work on nets because, nets are very light and like any mistake or anything can just make it get torn, which we don't want that at the end of the day. So you try to be as gentle as you can and you try to, even if you're going to use a fishing wire, you make sure that you're using the fishing wire that is extremely thin. Okay, if you're using the extremely thin fishing wire, that is okay. But if you don't have that and you have the 0.4 or the 0.35, that it means that you actually have to make sure you use a thread. But when using the thread as well, you have to make sure that you get a thread that is the same color as the net you're working with, because it would make it so easy and so difficult to actually identify how it all went about. At the end of the day, we don't want people to see our messy works. That is the reason why we try to use the fishing wire, which is basically colorless. Okay, so when you're doing that, like it makes the works extra beautiful and extra neater. Okay, so that is basically some of the gist I can give you, but stay tuned for more gist about how to work on nets. Okay, so this was how it was actually looking like. That was how the whole process was looking like. But hey, stay tuned. In this section, the thread was filled, like the thread was finished, so I had to replace the thread because with thread like these we cut it. It's not like fishing wire that we don't cut. With thread like these we cut it. Okay, so you can see me basically tying it as many times as I can because fishing wires are very nets are very quite complex when working with it. It's not difficult, it's just quite complex. So you make sure that you tie it to make it the lump very, very big. Okay, so with this section, I make sure I pass through the fabric, not the net, just to secure it. Okay, I make sure it was extremely closer to the net, but I passed through the fabric just so I could get that fairness that I needed, because I know for sure the net is not going to get me that kind of fairness that I want. Okay, so that was basically the reason why I took advantage of the fact that there was a fabric around it, and then I made sure I started a bead in there, because it makes it quite very, 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 very easier when handling with it, and then it makes it quite, you know, look neater. Okay, it comes out very, very neat and classic. Yeah, so this section, so you can see me actually making sure that the spaces were extremely high. So here, please take a very, very critical look at this section. Here I was trying to tie the knots, okay, on the crystal. The beading, it had actually finished, the thread had finished, so I was trying to secure a crystal so that all the beading I have done on the second layer wouldn't actually come out. You know, on the first phase and the second phase, it wouldn't come out. That was what I did with the first phase, but this section, I tried focusing the camera on it so that you could see it. So you remove the thread. You know, when you're working with it, it's 2 threads. So you remove one and then leave one inside the crystals. And then you make sure that it is as wide as it can be, so that all the crystals and all the thread have rooms, okay, for expansion. And then when you get the fixed one, you tie it. You tie the thread that you are using. The thread was 2 together, but you actually make sure you divide it and leave one crystal on it. And then after that, you actually tie the thread around the crystals. But before you do that, you make sure that the beading, the thread, and the beads are actually settled and where it has to be. Like all the rooms they are there. They are not fixed together. Like the thread is not shortened. Okay, so basically that is the gist. So you can actually see the whole process being repeated here as well. The thread was finished, so I passed through the fabric just so that I could secure the thread. I could secure it in the net, but it wouldn't be as secured as in the net, in the fabric. So I chose the fabric instead. If there is any other project that I'm working on that has to be completely netty, then we will do that. Okay, so please subscribe to this channel for important just like these when it comes to the beading world and most behind the scenes bead strategies of our kente and wedding gowns and elegant couture. Kindly please subscribe to this channel. If you're enjoying this video as well, don't forget to give it a like. Okay, the likes and the subscription basically help the channel to grow. It actually helps the channel to grow, as I said, and it also encourages me to do more posting, which is extremely very, very, very important as well. But I just want to thank everyone on this channel for actually helping me get to this section. We are on 2.5k and I'm extremely grateful for that. Thank you all very, very much. So here in this section, I was making sure that I was doing the beading with the way how it was filled. I was doing the beading at a chest level, as you can see. And here actually, I went on a low battery. Okay, so when I got a low battery, the client had to come to next day for the dress, so I had to make sure production was ongoing, and I'm very, very sorry about that, but I will try my best to explain it so that you can listen and then watch and understand it in the perfect way that you can ever do. So here in this section, I was using the flat back crystal. Okay, that was what I was actually using to fill the upper section. Okay, so I pass it through it as it works just like the crystals. There are holes beneath it. Yes, so when you pass your thread through it, you actually work on it just like you're working with the crystals. You move from few inches, but here it wouldn't be as close as it was, and you make sure that it is in line. Okay, you make sure that it is in line. If you basically can't get a straight stitch by just viewing it, you can actually use your tailor's chalk or like your pen or like your pencil, like something that would actually mark it so that you can actually get the straight lines. Okay, so that you can actually do the straight beading on it, but it has to be quite wide open. It shouldn't be as packed as it is beneath it. Okay, the one around the chest leg section, like the one right on top of the bust section, I mean the upper bust was extremely packed, but coming to the next section was quite loosened up. Okay, there was spaces in it and it was done in straight lines. Okay, so when you finish doing it in straight lines like that, you actually try your best to make sure you go back. As you can see here, you can see me doing here, so you actually go back to where you started it, where you want it to be, and then you move to like maybe 2 beats away so that it can be quite wider. Okay, so that wouldn't be as packed as how it was at the section, I mean the upper chest, like the upper bust section, sorry. Yes, so you try to repeat that whole process, and as you can see, you get your flat back crystals and then you pass it through it. There are holes beneath it, okay, so you can definitely get a place to pass your needle through it, and then you make sure that you're following the whole pattern, and then you're doing it in like a straight line. That is very important, so that you would have that effect of it dropping up, or let me say like pulling up individually. So at the end of the day, it would be looking like it's actually packed on the upper bust, but when it comes into the next section, it is quite spacious and it's quite in straight lines when it comes to that section. Okay, so we have this very beautiful dripping effect at the upper section, which I want you to very take closely look at it, as you can see me doing. So here in this section, I was beading it in straight lines, and I was making sure that I was getting my straight lines. So I really took it very slowly when dealing with this section. I just didn't want to I just don't want to get the effect of it just looking anyhow. Okay, so I tried my best to be as slow as I could so that I could get the straight lines that I wanted. So that is the whole process that you would have to actually do here. Yes, but hey, I do have my social media handles in the description as well. Try to connect with me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. TikTok is quite very active, so please do follow my TikTok, and then follow my Instagram for more updates on projects that are posted here. Most professional pictures are actually posted on my Instagram. Okay, so like this beaded work and all these kente work that I've done, you might not see the picture clearly here, just that you see the behind the scenes of them. But when you come to my Instagram and Facebook, you actually get to see like the whole picture, professional picture posted. Yes, so I would really like that if you would actually connect with me on the other social media handles. Yeah, so here in this section, I was actually going through the whole straight beading, as you can see here. Yep, so thank you very much for staying till this end. So this is how it was actually looking like at the end of the day. You see the down being extremely packed and the upper section being quite singled out, and it was in. So the upper section was quite singled out and it was in straight lines, as you can see here. So that was the effect we wanted, and we have it. So thank you very much for staying until the end. XOXO!